And basically, what we're trying to do with this flyer is to have this be a framework that healthcare facilities, emergency departments, clinics can have in their hospital to welcome asylum seekers and undocumented immigrant patients to their healthcare facilities. And what this really kind of stemmed out of was that when I was researching to seekers and some undocumented immigrant patients, they would go to the hospital and they would look for a sign or some kind of, something to suggest that doctors knew how to protect their information and that they were welcome in that facility and they weren't finding them here. And so what I wanted to do is to provide a framework for us to not only, welcome undocumented and asylum seeker patients into our healthcare facilities, but to do a step farther and to say that we are going to be accountable for taking care of these patients. So the idea of this flyer is that every facility that we're able to put this flyer, they're going to go through a screening process via us to suggest that the facility has the correct the correct policies in place and the correct trainings in place to say that the physicians and the nurses and the staff working in that facility know how to protect the information of undocumented patients and asylum seekers. And then once they've sort of completed that training and that okay from us, they'll be able to put this poster up. And this serves two purposes, I think. One is that it makes these patients feel like they are welcome. It makes these patients allows them to feel like they can come and access care in a facility. And also it shows, that us as physicians, that we are standing for, the rights of healthcare of these patients. And having this be something visible in healthcare facilities puts that idea further into the American consciousness. And I think one thing we discussed yesterday was how our role in sort of promoting a culture which then politicians can use. And this is part of our role. So if this is something you're interested in, what I would really like you to do is send an email to our email, and we'll put that in the chat, and then you can be involved in that. And the other thing, we're looking right now for different facilities who would like to be involved. And the other thing I would say is that we have a letter which was in regards to what happened with George Floyd earlier on in the year. And if you would like, you can access, I put the link in the chat to our PHR Students Get Involved page. So you can click that and you can write your own letter. And you can also sign the letter. If you're interested in that, I would suggest that you do that, because I think that with this activity, the sort of lifespan of how long we can care about a particular issue is very limited in many cases. And while we had this big wave of people caring about, what does it mean to be an African American in this country earlier on in the year, I think it's important to revisit that later in the year and to say, no, this is still an issue that we care about. So I would really encourage you to, one, send a letter and sign the letter on our PHR Students Get Involved page. I would encourage you to reach out to me if you're interested in this advocacy initiative that I discussed earlier. And we also have a form that we're trying to collect information about asylum seekers and refugees in the United States on that Get Involved page. And I would really, really, really appreciate if you could go to the website and try to fill that out. If you have any questions, please feel free to email us at our email, which I'll put in the chat. And other than that, we're always here to support your advocacy issues and to sort of be a resource for you. So please reach out if there's advocacy issues that you are interested in that we haven't yet forward. I would like to be a support for you for those issues as well. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Rebecca, for that.